All right, well, welcome back, everyone. Has your pet ever needed surgery? We've got great experts here to help you through all this. Dr. Tony Ballagas and Dr. Jerome Ballagas.
Ballagas.
Thank you. I said it right the first time. I wanted to make sure I said it right. And Dr. Jerome Williams, of course, who is a regular here on Good Day Alabama. Good morning to both of you first.
Good morning.
You want to start with you first, Dr. Jerome?
Well, we are so fortunate to have surgeons like Dr. Ballagas in Birmingham area that can take care of surgical situations that us general practitioners just can't, and they do a marvelous job.
Now, we know what happens with humans, but particularly with dogs, what are the dangers in terms of surgery?
Well, what we thought we'd mention today is just a little bit about obesity in dogs and treating arthritis. And we see a lot of arthritis in dogs, and it's generally secondary to some sort of orthopedic problem, whereas in people, we tend to live long enough and wear our joints out. And in dogs, we tend to have an underlying cause of the arthritis in dogs. And so we wanted to talk a little bit about that. Weight management in dogs is very important if they're arthritic. A lot of dogs that we see will have bad hips, bad elbows. And it's important to work with your veterinarian about managing their weight. And
well, how heavy is too heavy? I
well,
guess some
it depends.
Folks are
there's body mass indexes in dogs as well as in people, and so you can they have charts and scales that you use to judge whether your dog is obese or not. Every dog's different, obviously, different size dogs, and it's important to keep them light and lean.
So how then do you treat them?
Well, if you're treating an arthritic dog, it gets difficult to manage their weight. Obviously, if they hurt every time you walk them. So how you treat them is get them on you need to make sure they're healthy, otherwise they don't have some other endocrine problem on top of their orthopedic problems, and then get them on the correct weight program and weight management program, whether that's a restricted diet or walking, and then restricted diets, anti-inflammatories, and or surgery if they need a surgery.
Did you
they
have
a
some
surgical
clips
problem. I think they had an x-ray of an arthritic dog's knees at some point. I don't know if we got them up or not.
Let's see. If you do, roll it.
if they don't, we'll talk about that next time.
I'm not hearing anything in my ear here, so we don't have anything.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
That's
doctor.
all right. That's all right.
So is surgery involved in this at all?
It can be, depending on the cause. So if you have and the dog. I mean, if you have a 15-year-old dog, obviously we'd try to avoid surgery. If you have a young dog who has an ACL tear and is overweight, well, trying to correct that orthopedic problem as well as correcting the weight problem is important.
Now,
so,
some of your surgeries can do anything from a hip replacement to are you doing knee replacement like in people?
You rarely have to do knee repair, but you have to correct ACLs. Overweight dogs typically have back problems as well, so it's important to
So, Dr.
treat that.
Jerome, typically people come to you first before you refer them, so what are you looking for?
Well, any of those things that he mentioned, anything that's abnormal, gait, movement, and if it's something that we cannot treat medically, then we'll refer to surgeons like the Ballagas.
So does the age of the dog or animal play into this at all?
Absolutely. If the age and the other diseases certainly play a role in it, depending on how it determines how we would approach their problems. And so, obviously, if you have an older dog, we're going to try to manage those dogs conservatively first if we can. If we can't, then we'll correct their problems surgically.
It's all about quality of life.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's important.
And we're approaching the hunting season for those kind of sportsmen. Keeping those dogs fit, getting them fit before getting into the season is going to be so important to minimize and reduce those injuries.
Really? You get a lot of hunting dogs in?
Absolutely.
Wow.
So it's important. They condition those dogs so hard that they do have orthopedic problems, and it's important that people who do work or hunt their dogs recreationally get them in shape before they take them out and try to work them.
And Doctor, I imagine you're going to have a rash of injury-related this season as season begins.
It's like if we don't do anything for 6 months and all of a sudden try to go run a marathon, it's just not going to work out well for us. You got to train. You got to do the same things with your dogs.
So talk quickly about recovery times on animals as well, because
it depends on the problem. I mean, with orthopedic surgical problems, it's generally a 3-month recovery, 6 weeks of rest, and then 6 weeks of kind of rehab. The back problems, kind of the same thing. You want to rest them for a period of time as they heal. Then you want to build that up and get them back into shape before we let them go.
And so when they recover, do they have full motion,
generally
functionality?
They do, depending on the cause of their problems, but generally with knee problems, some back problems, most of these dogs can get back to normal.
All right. Well, Dr. Ballagas, great to have you here,
you.
and Dr. Jerome, as always, and Miss Jillian, always willing to help us out in the morning.
If
she is a beautiful dog.
Hello to my son Carson. He wanted me. He's been up since 6 waiting this morning. I told him I'd say hello.
How old is Carson?
6 years old.
Hi, Carson. Good to see you this morning, buddy. All right. Thanks for joining us, both of you.
Good
Appreciate it. Now let's go to JJ.
Thank you very much.